let me introduce myself. My name is Linsca Angelitha Jesthian from Bina Sarana Informatika University. So today I will be working on an English project. In this project is divided into two parts. The first part is speech project and the second part is presentation project. Happy watching! So in this speech project, I raised the topic about change the bad habit. Have you ever felt trapped in a loop? Like delaying your work until last minute, scrolling endlessly on social media, or just constantly saying, I will start tomorrow or I will do anything tomorrow. You know what? Every single one of us has bad habits. These are actions that we know hurt our progress, yet we keep doing them anyway. Bad habits are not just minor, harmless action. They are anchors that hold us back from reaching our full potential, whether it is poor sleep schedule or a negative mindset. These habits dictate our future. But here's the good news. Habits are built through repetition. If a behavior can be learned, then it can also be unlearned and changed. Every habit follows a simple three loop. There are a cue, a routine, and a reward. To change the habit, you need to understand this loop. First, identify the cue. In the habit loop, the cue is the exact trigger that tells your brain to go into automatic mode and perform a bad habit. And the second, replace, don't delete. You cannot simply erase a habit from your brain. Instead, keep the trigger and reward, but change the routine. Example, if you scrolling TikTok or you scrolling any kind of social media when you stress to relax, then replace it into a better activities. Maybe you're doing like 5 minutes walk, or drink chamomile tea, or read a books for 15 minutes, or just baking, cooking, or something that's more healthier. So the trigger is still stress, and the reward is still relaxation, but the routine is changed. The routine is healthy. You change from scrolling TikTok into a better activities. And then third, change your environment. Make your habit difficult to reach. Example, if you don't want to check your phone or scrolling TikTok at night, then charge it in another room so you don't have access on it. Last, start with small steps. Don't try to change your entire life overnight. Just doing it slowly but sure. Because success doesn't come from what you do occasionally. It comes from what you do consistently. So everyone, let today be your turning point. Bad habits over temporary comfort but lead you into permanent regret. So change your life, change your habit, start now, start small, and start with yourself. Thank you.
Next, for the presentation project, I raised the topic about non-countable nouns. Let's dive straight into it. First, let's look at the definition. What exactly are uncountable nouns? In short, uncountable nouns are nouns in English that cannot be counted using numbers directly. So we cannot say water, to knowledge, or free love, or any other. To make it easier to understand, we can group these nouns into four main categories. First is fluid. Fluid includes liquids like water, milk, oil, coffee, and any other. And then the second is gas. Gas such as air, oxygen, smoke, and any other. And then the third is particle. These are substances consisting of tiny grains like sugar, salt, flour, rice, paper, and anything. And then last is abstract ideas. Abstract ideas is things that we cannot see or touch physically, such as information, knowledge, love, advice, and any other. Now, how do we use them correctly in a sentence? There are three main rules and features that we must always remember. Rule number one is they are always considered singular. This means the verb that follows the noun must use the singular form. For example, we say water is important. We're not saying water are important. It's wrong. And then rule number two, they cannot end with s or es because these words don't have plural form. We can never add a plural suffix to them. For instance, writing sugars or informations is incorrect. Rule number 3, they cannot start with a or and. Why? Because the articles a and and literally mean one. Since we cannot count these nouns directly, we cannot use a or and right before them. Then, if we cannot count them directly, how do we measure them? That brings us to measurement. To count non-countable nouns, we must use measure words or particles. We don't count the substance itself, but we count the container, the unit, or the package. For example, we don't count the water, but we count the glasses or liters. Here are some examples. There are 4 images in here. The first one is coffee. Instead of just saying coffee, we say a cup of coffee. And then next, for salt, we can use a pinch of salt. And then next, for oxygen, we can use a tank of oxygen. And then for an abstract idea like love, we can express it as an act of love. Aside from measure words, we can also use quantifiers to show the amount of uncountable nouns. On this slide, we have 4 common quantifiers. The first is much. Much, mostly used in negative sentence and questions. Example, I don't have much more left. Did it take much time to finish? There isn't much traffic on the road today. And then next, little. Little, which means a small amount, like is that example, please add a little sugar to my coffee. Or I have a little time before the train arrives. And then we only need a little oil to fry the egg. And then next is some. Some we use in positive statement. For example, he listened to some music to relax his mind. She gave me some advice about my career. I need some water to clean this table. And then last is any. Any, which is used in questions and negative sentence. For example, is there any milk in the fridge? Or do you have any experience in sales? And then I don't have any money left in my wallet. Lastly, let's talk about the common mistakes made by ESL or English as a Second Language. As you can see from this chart, there are 3 major mistakes that English learners frequently make. The highest percentage of errors comes from pluralizing furniture. Many people incorrectly say furnitures. The second most common mistake is using an advice. As we discussed earlier, we shouldn't use and for non-countable nouns. And then the third one is pluralizing use by treating it as a regular plural word. I want to emphasize again that these 3 mistakes are grammatically incorrect because non-countable nouns are always considered as singular and should never begin with the article of a or an. So that concludes my presentation today. Thank you so much for your time and your kind attention.